Tunney,
Here.
Mr. Peter,
Here.
Reinhardt,
Here.
and Smith.
Here.
You have 6 present, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
That is a quorum.
can I get a motion to approve the minutes from last?
Second.
Move, second, thank you. Okay, we got, Mark, has a lease agreement. Yeah.
Okay. Item 2 is authorizing a lease agreement with T-Mobile Use Tower LLC regarding the telecommunications tower at the hockey facility. I believe Mr. Atlas is here tonight. At the end.
You got it. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
So, first time here. Appreciate you letting me down. We got the T-Mobile telecommunications tower that has been an ongoing contract, been renewed several times over the past couple decades. It allows for additional revenue into our general fund, which we have been collecting throughout the years. T-Mobile's paid it on time, paid the right amounts. It's been a very beneficial contract. It's essentially kind of like free money. So.
Thank you. Any questions?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All
Thank you.
right.
Thank you.
Oh, unanimous. I'm learning.
Item 3 is authorizing the submission of a grant application to the National Endowment for the Humanities for the Sustaining Cultural Heritage Collections Grant. Is Johanna Batman here? Oh, with child. You can just write it down. Thank you.
Bring your mother to work there.
That's right.
Hello, thank you. I'm glad I could make it. So yes, this is a request for retroactive permission really, but we put in an application for a $100,000 grant to NEH in January. And it will fund, hopefully, installation of new insulation in the meeting house, and as well as the addition of an external recovery ventilator for the new HVAC system we're putting in this spring.
Any questions?
Are there any grants for any of the other buildings or?
I currently have one other one for this HVAC project through the University Council on the Arts. I try to be mindful of my capacity, so one big capital grant at a time, but I'm hoping that I'll be coming back before this body in a few months with some more proposals. Yeah.
Quick question, is this sort of a pre-approval grant? I mean, are you somewhat confident that you're going to get it, or is it a highly competitive grant?
It's a competitive grant. I think we have a good chance. I was invited to apply, which is usually a good sign. But in this case, the terms of our lease stipulate that we need to request authorization for both the application and the acceptance process.
Great.
Mr. Chairman, if there are no further questions, I make a motion to move on this.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Passed unanimously. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for
Before
humoring
you
me.
go, Joanna, is that a shaker outfit?
Yes, very traditional. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 4 is authorizing a standardization agreement with Blue Siren Inc. for the supply of flow metering equipment and data hosting services at the Water Purification District. Director Angelo Gaudio is here tonight.
Thank you. Back in 2022, we actually had bid out for new equipment for flow metering equipment and hosting services. A little background, we have 32 metering pits throughout the collection system. Those metering pits were used as basically the method that we use for billing our 8 communities that we serve. We had issues with the existing equipment being obsolete in terms of equipment relaying that information back to our plant, so we made a decision to switch out the equipment. Based on that bid, we selected Blue Siren as the preferred vendor, and we have since installed about 99% of that equipment currently, so we're looking for a standardization agreement so that going forward we can basically preclude kind of any other competitors that quite honestly can't really run on that same platform. So that's really what we're asking for.
Thank you. Angelo, when we do a standardization agreement like this, are these folks on any competitive bid list? If we can't buy anything other than them, what makes us, gives us confidence that we
Yeah,
have a
so,
price agreement built into it, or how do we know?
we basically bid it out, so that you still have competitive bidding opportunities, so that, if there are multiple outlets to basically secure those products, you can still get it through different, sources.
So Blue Siren is a manufacturer.
Blue Siren is a factory, so right now they're doing direct sales. There was discussion about them picking up a sales representative local to the New York area. Actually, Colony is, I think, using some of their products currently. But in terms of the competitiveness, I think we've been having a really good relationship so far with them. They were actually able to negotiate or able to reduce their service contract price down from $300, I think, to $250. So what they initially bid as a service agreement for $9,000 a year, we were able to negotiate down to $6,000. So they've been very good in terms of working with us in that regard. But to that point, yeah, I think we're going to be able to bid it out. But if for some reason they were to escalate their prices, we are kind of tied to that platform at this point. But again, I think that's the same for Allen Bradley or any other controls, or Dell for that matter. I mean, it would be the same thing. Like, there's nothing that precludes them from increasing their pricing on any county or state contract, though.
So we don't have any kind of a clause that limits the escalation?
Currently, no.
Should we try to get that?
We can see if they'd be amenable to doing something like that. We do have a price list for their equipment, though, so it's not like we don't know what their equipment is priced at today. So, yeah, if in the future it turns out to be a 500% add, obviously there's going to be an issue, but,
It seems like we could have something reasonable in there.
Well, I wouldn't begin to know how to do it, but I have some concern. Obviously, when you make a choice like this to standardize, you're not talking about 1 year, or 2 year, or 2 years. How long were we standardized on the product?
well, I think we were still talking about some side of sunset in the contract. So if we did a standardization agreement, I think we were talking about a 3 or 5 year period, just so that there was some ability to kind of sunset that agreement.
What is the normal life of this kind of product?
The hardware, you're probably talking a 5 to 10 year window. Just again, it's hardware, it's out in the weather, so depending on kind of the components. But I mean, I would say no more than 10 years is probably a safe bet for hardware.
Well, we're not locked into like a 25-year.
No.
Chairman, so, for example, like, in the parking authority, when we buy meters, right, we usually enter into an agreement, once we choose a product that says, for the next 5 years, right, we can get it, you can guarantee this amount of pricing and this amount for service products, because the useful life of a meter is anywhere between 5 and 10 years, so we do a 5 year. Is that what we're sort of talking about here? Like, is there like a 5 year where we're guaranteeing pricing and things like that, where it makes sense? Because to your point, let's say something breaks, right? You don't want to go out to rebid on every minor thing if it's going to be the same product, because you know what product you need to use. So to Mr. Bergdorf's point, which I think is, and I think what everyone else is saying is that built in, that it's like, because you said 3 or 5 years, is it a 5 year term where it's a standardization so that we can get their services without having to go to bid if we have to expand services, et cetera?
I think we would structure it for, again, a 3 or 5 year window specific to that. That's kind of what we're saying. Because again, the agreement does not actually exist right now. We would have to develop the.
Well, I guess, when I heard you talk, or somebody talked before, said there were 32 of these that we use for billing. I would hate to see us get to year 4 and then have a 1,000% price increase, and we're locked in year 4.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah,
then,
and that's a fair point. I do think, again, we looked at multiple systems, so I think this was one of 3 that we looked at, and this was the most cost competitive, so.
I think to Mr. Bergdorf's point, if I could, Mr. Chairman, I don't think the concern is the cost right now.
Sure.
But if
Yeah.
they know we're not going to bid on anyone else and there's nothing that constrains their cost,
Sure.
what stops them from being uncompetitive in 3 years if they know we're not going to go with anyone else? So for example, what I would probably request, since it's not written yet and this authorization sort of allows that blank thing, is before it comes to a vote, could you break down the exact terms you're asking for. 5 years, a price increase not to exceed 2% unless agreed to, whatever, that I think would make everyone feel better.
Yeah, so I think in terms
That's
of,
exactly right.
yeah, so in terms
Yeah,
of,
what he said.
so I guess in terms of the process, like, so we haven't done a standardization agreement, so I guess my first thought was we had to kind of get approval to enter into one first, so I guess if we need to develop the contract and then kind of come back to this group and get approval, I guess, is that what we're asking?
I think
I think we can check in with the county attorney to
Yeah.
find out if she would be amenable to that sort of arrangement. I can't imagine she would not.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
because that seems sort of standard.
Right, I think we can move along the process.
I
and
think,
then focus.
yes, but I
I'd like to move
think
on
this
the
can be moved
process.
along during
I
that time.
I would like to see a protection built in.
I agree.
That
For
makes sense.
price stability, for
Sure.
at least, or price predictability.
Right.
For at least the first 5 years.
With at least a cap. You know, it could be less, could be more, but like.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't anticipate buying really any hardware in 5 years, because at that point,
Sure.
it's not doing what it's supposed to do.
Go ahead and approve it. We have motion?
Motion.
Second, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Pass unanimously.
All right, item 5 is authorizing an agreement with Waste Management Green Ridge RDF LLC regarding the discharge and treatment of leachate at the north plant of the Water Purification District. Mr. Gaudio.
So this is a long-term contract that we had with Finch Waste, who's now renamed Waste Management. Basically, we have an agreement with them where we act as the recipient of their leachate waste. So the base agreement is that we would allow their wastewater to be discharged to our facility for treatment. The underlying agreement is that they pay us a base rate of $22,000, and then on top of that, any leachate that is sent to us, we get 2 cents per gallon. Last year, I believe, the revenue that we pulled in from this agreement was north of $200,000, so we are looking to renew this agreement with them.
We passed a resolution, I think last year, that was related to testing for PFAS, for leachate that we accept. So has this, do you have the data on the testing for PFAS?
Yeah, that was submitted, so I don't think we've gotten 2023 yet, but 2022 data has been submitted, so that should be available. So that should have been to the clerk's office already, so specific to the questions.
Do you know the data?
The data?
Have we seen the data? or-
He just said, I think he said that it was sent to the clerk's office, so we'll follow up.
Yeah, so I think the legislation that was adopted basically had us submitting that to the clerk to be publicly available, so that's been done. Again, I'm not sure where that information is, but certainly I can provide it to you, Rebecca, if you want to kind of distribute it.
Sam, you good?
Well, I just want to know, where exactly does this leachate come from?
It comes from the Finch, the paper facility,
Okay,
and then again, they kind of rebranded to Waste Management.
okay, thank you.
Quick question, Angelo, how does these terms, the 60,000 and the 2 cents a gallon compare to the previous financial agreement?
It's identical.
It's identical. So there's no escalation in any cost?
We did not escalate our leachate. We did do an escalation 2023 for our septage and our FOG, or fats, oils, and grease. Those are septage haulers, so that rate went up, but not our leachate. Primarily because the leachate is tied to municipalities, more so than some of the septage haulers, which are private. So that's why we.
Well, I just wanted to, I mean, this is Finch Prime, right? Or is this all of Waste Management?
It's just Finch. It's just that one facility.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not
Is that
taking-
in Albany County?
It's outside the county, actually.
Okay, so I'm sure Waste Management has up their fee to Finch Prime. Is this something, I mean, I don't
Could it be
know.
escalated? Yeah, I think it's something that we've been looking at just as a revenue generator. Again, we've made the decision this year to increase our scavenger waste rates and our FOG rates, and even our sludge rates. So that's something I think we were gonna take a look at, but we haven't as of yet. Generally speaking, we pull in quite a bit of revenue from our leachate loads, but to your point, I think it's probably worth an evaluation. So we had done that last year for the other waste streams, we just hadn't done it for the
So
leachate.
is this an annual, or how long are we asking to hold this pricing?
I believe it was a 2-year with a 1-year option.
That's correct.
Yeah, 2-year term with a 1-year renewal option.
So if we couldn't if we passed this, we couldn't reevaluate it for 3 years. right?
2 years, 2 years.
So 2 years. 2 years at our option. Well, once again, I can see us holding the price for our own municipalities, united communities, that sort of thing. But, not that I want to
Yeah, understood.
gouge anybody, but everybody's prices are going up everywhere.
Yep.
And I would like to see you, if at all possible, over the next 2 years, try to build in some sort of
Yeah,
escalator for the future.
no, it's the valid point. I think for whatever reason, historically, the leachate's kind of been kind of grouped together for, again, we basically taken leachate from 4 different entities, so those 4 have been kind of grouped together on a pricing structure, so that's what we're basically maintaining.
Any other questions?
If no other questions, I'd make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you.
Item 6 is authorizing a lease agreement with Prime Management LLC and Berkshire Bank regarding suite number 3 at the MVP Arena. Manager Bob Belver is here this evening.
Good evening. This suite number 3 with Berkshire Bank and Prime Management is a renewal agreement. Suite owners have been in the suite for some time, and they've been great tenants. Current payments, we're up to date and current on all payments. And in similar fashion, and I'm not trying to push the other one, but Pat Schneider Associates, number 8, which is number 7 on the list. Also, just a renewal. She's current on all payments. She's been a great suite holder. So I ask if 2 of those could be approved.
I would make a motion to approve them.
We don't, well, grouping won't actually save you any time.
Yeah, because
Because
it's a
you'll have the
two-motion.
exact number, so
So
I mean,
I
you can do it if you'd like.
I would just like to make a motion to move it then.
Okay.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
All right, then item 7 is authorizing a lease agreement with P. Schneider
Oh,
and
you do for this
Associates
one,
regarding
second.
suite number 8 at the MVP Arena.
I have a motion to move it.
Paul, go ahead.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you.
All right, and then item 8 is authorizing an agreement with Mobility Operations LLC regarding the installation of a digital antenna system at the MVP Arena.
Thank you. This digital antenna system is something that we actually tried to do back in 2017. And I don't know if you remember this, but there was a company by the name of TTI Wireless, I believe. And they were purchased by American Tower about a year and a half later. But in August of 2017, we had an approval from the county to proceed. At that time, it was also a revenue-generating contract. They were supposed to install a DAS system, digital antenna system, which would, and this one absolutely will also, improve cell service for all of the people that come into the building. And now it's even more needed than ever, because everybody's using their phones for ticketing.
Right.
And in order to be able to get their tickets available to be shown and scanned, they have to have good cell service. So just to go back a real quick minute, for 2017, they were supposed to install the system, and we had a hard time getting them to install it because they didn't have carriers that were signed. And as a result of not signing the carriers, they paid us a non-refundable amount, I think it was $225 or $250, that we took in as income in that year, in 2017, because it was non-refundable. And then we would have received $50,000 per year from each carrier contract that was signed. They never signed a carrier. They never installed the system. The company, without disparaging that company, just failed to perform. And thank you to Eugenia Condon and the county attorney's office for working with us and helping us to get out of that contract, because it was a 10-year with 2 additional mutual options for additional years. This contract is with a company, Mobility, that our company, ASM Global, has installed. Their system has been installed in many of our buildings. They were installed in the New York subway systems, and they were installed and completed 2 years in advance of what the completion date was supposed to be, which is critically important in my mind, because as much as this is a revenue generating contract, we're going to receive $225,000 in non-refundable payments upfront, and then for each carrier they sign, we're going to receive another $75,000. This is all net to the bottom line for the building and for the county. But I'm also just as interested in making sure we get the system. We want to make sure that we have good cell service for all consumers that come into the building. I feel very comfortable and confident, as does our company, that Mobility is the right company to do that. They're in MGM and all the major resorts in Vegas. Their list of credentials and clients that they've installed systems is in the package in their proposal. And we've checked on them, and I've checked with our corporate office, and I have never seen as many glowing recommendations. So we would ask that we agree to enter into a contract with them. None of the DOS companies will enter into a contract less than 10 years because they're investing $225,000 upfront. More importantly, the system itself that they're going to install has a huge back-end system. It takes up a whole room. Obviously, the points for connectivity to that back end are all throughout the arena. And that overall system costs them about $1.7 million to install. So between the upfront monies to us and the $1.7 million, they need the 10 years to be able to make it work for them financially. And we don't know how much money they get from the carriers. All we know is we get 75 of it. That comes to our bottom line. They must get more, obviously, to be able to cover the cost of their investment. But at the end of the day, the buildings that have put their DOS system in, and these are arenas, stadiums, convention centers, are very happy with the service over the last 3 years that I've checked into. And they're also happy with the financial gain that they've gotten from entering into the contracts.
A quick question. I think it's good to do and completely understand the rationale. But, with it being a 10-year contract, do they upgrade, like we went from 3G to 4G to 5G within 5 years?
Yep.
Will they have the capability within their system to upgrade as well as cell data gets more?
That was one of the questions that I actually asked both them and our corporate office, because I had the same feeling you did. And the response was they have to upgrade because the carriers have to upgrade.
Got it.
And so they can't interface with the next generation unless their system is upgraded.
Got
And
it.
all upgrades are at their cost.
Understood.
And they also have their own power or meter for power, and they're going to have to pay for their own power. So it won't cost the county a single dime.
Okay.
Question, Bob, how many carriers might we anticipate the $75,000 from, and is that a one-time charge? So is the $225 and the $75 a one-time charge, which is to amortize their benefit over 10 years?
Well, yes, but there's not a recurring 75 or 125 in the second 10 years. So it's a one-time fee that we receive. And so it's 75 per carrier and it's 225 upfront.
So this could be a pricing that we agree to for 20 years?
Well, what I'm saying right now is that the 10 years that we have is 225 upfront and 75 per carrier. We have to mutually agree on any renewal of the 10 years. So if we want to go back and say we need another 225 or we need another 75 per carrier, we have the right to do that. We don't have to extend the contract. So we're not bound to anything more than the 10 years. And we have a mutual option, not their option, a mutual option to go another 10 years. So.
And what is the benefit to the ticket holder of this? What's the?
The benefit to the ticket holder is that when they go to that line of screening, when they go into the doors,
Yeah.
and they have to have their ticket on their phone up and ready to be scanned, they're not having trouble with buffering of their phone and getting to their ticket.
Right.
Because the cell service isn't strong enough to be able to. Because when you have 14,000 people, or depending on the crowd, that are all trying to get their phones, going with their tickets, the push on that on the cellular service is immense. And it's slower than we'd like it to be right now. And that's why, quite frankly, we've had some complaints about how long it's taken to get people in the building.
Okay, so that's the line we don't want people to leave the building.
Right.
Okay, I'm concerned about the second 10 years, but if it's maybe,
I think there's I'm certainly not telling you not to have a concern, but I think we have the ability to go back and say, we're only going to renew for another 10 years if you will do this. And if they say no, then we can, and we have the ability to do that, not at the 10th year, but 7 years out, 8 years out, so that we can negotiate. We do this with many of the other contracts that we have. We can make sure we know exactly what the terms are for such renewal before we get to the point where we have to commit to it.
I'd make a motion if there are no further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Passed unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Item 9 is authorizing a revised just compensation agreement regarding the purchase of real property located at 1033 Waterley Shaker Road in the town of Colony. And I believe you are Lisa Ramondo, our Commissioner Ramondo's designee.
I'm Bill Anslow. I'm a civil engineer for the Albany County Highway Department. Lisa asked me to present tonight. So the first one is an agreement for a fee purchase for 3,424 square feet of real property located at 1033 Waterley Shaker Road in the town of Colony in the amount of $22,300, as well as $6,000 of improvements to asphalt, curb, trees, sprinkler system at 1033 Waterley Shaker Road. And that said, necessitated by the construction of a right turn lane from southbound Vly Road onto westbound Waterley Shaker Road. This is part of the project that you all approved last month for Louise.
Is that the dentist office on the corner of the apartment?
It's the old Shaker rental.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions?
like to move it?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you.
Item 10 is authorizing the submission of a grant application for Bridge New York funding regarding bridge and culvert rehabilitation and replacement projects. Mr. Ainslaw.
Albany County Department of Public Works is requesting authorization to apply for Bridge New York funding for up to 3 bridges and 2 culverts in Albany County. Bridge New York funding would provide 95% of the original authorized project cost for bridges and 100% of the original authorized cost for the culverts. The governor's 5-year capital program continues the Bridge New York program at an increased funding level of $200 million per year. Bridges are eligible between $500,000 and $5 million in funding, and culverts are eligible from $100,000 to $500,000.
I'll take 3. I'll move this.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Item 11 is amending resolution number 147 for 2022 regarding the Albany County Rail Trail over the New Scotland Road, New York Route 85 bridge replacement project. Mr. Angelo.
Yeah, this is our favorite bridge that we're hopefully going to replace in the next couple of months. And we could not award for the full amount because we did not have enough money in the bond. Therefore, we pulled out a part that was over $500,000. And we worked with Betty and Crane, and they were okay with doing that, so we could award the contract so we could get the bridge, purchase of the bridge moving forward. And now we're asking to put that money back in.
Question. No, so what we basically have is a cost, what we originally had, just in 2 pieces?
Yes.
There's
Original-
There's not a cost increase?
No, there's no, the original bid was more than we had bonded, so we had to pull it.
Yeah, okay, just wanted to make that clear. Super.
Bill, you good?
I just wanted to make that point.
Yeah.
Motion?
I'll move
Oh, second that?
Sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
All right. Item 12 is authorizing an agreement with Tracy Road Equipment for the purchase of a horizontal shaft impactor and amending the 2023 Department of Public Works budget. Mr. Angelo.
Yeah, we're requesting from this body to transfer $569,900 from bridge and road repair to specialty equipment for the purchase of 1 Ranger I-32 horizontal shaft impactor from Tracy Road Equipment, the low bidder on RFP 2022-126. Horizontal shaft impactor will be used to crush and screen millings from county roads. The screen millings will be repurposed as shoulder backup material, which will eliminate the need to purchase costly crusher run. The impactor will also be used to screen ditch material into usable material for county projects. The purchase will be made 100% state funded with CHIPS money.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Pass unanimously.
Thank you.
Item 13 is authorizing an agreement with William J. Keller and Sons Construction Corp. for the construction of County Route 352, also known as Fox Creek Road, over Fox Creek Bridge replacement project in the town of Rensselaerville.
This project includes replacing the existing deteriorated A588 steel bridge with a precast concrete arch structure founded on concrete-filled steel piles. Stream reconstruction and minor approach work are also to be included. We received 4 bids for the project. William J. Keller and Sons was the low bid at $2,069,999.20.
Mr. Chairman, if there are no questions, I make a motion to move this.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Pass unanimously.
Thank you.
Item 14 is amending resolution number 143 for 2022 for hauling and placing of asphalt concrete on various roads in Albany County.
Okay, this last year, County and Industries was our awarded contract for hauling and placing, and the price increase was due to the asphalt price adjustment and fuel price adjustment for milling and paving. This was the first year we actually put that into the contract due to the nature of everything going up, and the contractors didn't really want to bid unless they felt they had some way to make themselves whole as a fuel increase every month. So that's what, why the costs were so high.
Paul?
Question, Bill, is this an increase to the existing contract, or is this a new contract at a higher price?
No, this is the increase to their contract that's already been completed.
That's been completed, so this is like a retroactive?
Right, because you can't stop the contract in the middle and say, okay, guys, we're done for now, we've got to go back and ask for money. So they went ahead and did the job.
The agreement that we had in place for that contract specifically allowed this?
It allowed for the price index increase, yes. And we put a certain amount in there, not knowing how much gas was gonna go up over the summer last year. And every month, they can add that to their billing. And at the end, it ended up being over, it was 300,000 actually total, which we had 100 in the contract, so it's 200 more.
And this is technically a change order.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out, it's additional costs.
Yep.
Go
Okay,
back
yes.
retroactively in 2022, which we're contractually obligated to do under our hauling and placing contract that we
Exactly.
entered into.
And they are documenting the $200,000 increase in their costs.
Well, it came in their bills. Each month we get a bill and the index is monthly, so every month, whatever month they do the work, then the index is applied to their costs and therefore, and it generates more of a bill.
Are they, do they have the contract for 2023?
We have not put it out to bid yet. I'm going to be sure to raise the index in this year's bid so that we don't get burned like this.
Well, when would we have to have something like that out to bid by to utilize it for the construction season?
I'm working on it right now. It should be out on the street March 9th.
Okay, great, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if there are no further questions, I make a motion to move this.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Item 15 is amending resolution number 201 for 2021 regarding construction services for the County Route 402 and County Route 404 culvert replacement project in the town of Westerlo.
Okay, we're requesting the legislators' approval for a change order with Carver Construction in the amount of $47,300.99. The legislature authorized the original agreement, Resolution 201-71221 with Carver in the amount of $774,145 for construction of 2 culvert replacements, one on County Route 404, one on County Route 402 in the town of Westerlo. The revised contract amount is $821,455.99. The increase was due to site conditions being different than originally expected. There's more rock that required excavation. Along with the additional excavation, there was more fill required, which also added to the original cost. Also, more asphalt was used than originally anticipated. The project is complete. We are happy with the work.
Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, if there are no further questions, I make a motion to move this.
A second?
Second.
Second, Paul. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
And item
Thank
16
you.
is authorizing an agreement with Colliers Engineering and Design PC regarding construction inspection services for the County Route 352, Fox Creek Road over Fox Creek Bridge replacement project in the town of Rensselaerville.
And we are requesting the legislature's approval for a contract with Colliers Engineering and Design, in the amount of $177,000 for CI services for the County Route 352 bridge replacement project, which we just previously approved. This contract will provide independent inspection of the construction project, which will replace the existing bridge over Fox Creek in the town of Rensselaerville.
Any questions?
Just a quick question. I noticed that they were, I realize this is a professional service contract, they were not the low proposer.
They weren't?
No, it looks like Foy Albert was by 17 grand.
Well, we rate, not to interrupt you, but we rate on price and understanding of the scope.
I understand that in professional service contract. I just wanted to hear you say that there were other performance measures that.
There are.
Have we used these individuals on other projects that are similar, for example?
Pardon?
Have we used these, the outside folks, on any other projects that we know of?
Colliers?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Make a motion, Mr. Chairman?
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you, Bill.
Thank you very much, appreciate your time.
Motion to close, Mr. Chairman?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Happy Tuesday, everyone.
What?
What?